Peace, family. I want to jump on here and speak on the boycott and boycotting. In my life, I've served as a community organizer, one of those jobs I could get because I'm passionate about people and people's rights. It's one thing in this world that I just can't stand, and that's when people are mistreated. I don't set out to mistreat anybody, and I don't want anybody to mistreat me. So that goes hand in hand with my personality. So, all right. This boycott of Target, led by a local pastor here in Atlanta, Dr. Jamal Bryant. Dr. Jamal Bryant, overall, he's a good guy. And somebody was talking about they really didn't like his leadership and some of the things that he's involved with, so that's why they were not supporting the boycott. And that's to me, that's ridiculous. So okay, roughly 2008, I was a recent graduate of the Interdenominational Theological Center in Atlanta with a Master's of Divinity. Not because I'm, particularly interested in being a Christian pastor, but because of some doors that it can open in terms of assisting underserved populations in prisons, hospitals, hospice care, and so forth. But I was selected to be a fellow with an organization out of Chicago, Illinois, called the IWJ, which is the Interfaith Worker Justice Project. Very, very positive organization where you had Christians, Muslims, and Jewish persons working together for organized labor. So I was introduced to a modality of protest, which is under the Midwest organizing principles. And as part of that seminary summer, I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Was protesting and raising hell with companies such as Walmart, Target, and Wells Fargo home mortgage. This was roughly about the time of the home mortgage crisis, which swept the United States from Stockton, California, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. But anyhow, this issue of Target has been prevalent since 2008. Here we are, 2025. The reason that Target was being called out was because they were hiring security guards from multinational security firm in South Africa known as Wackenhut Security. They weren't paying their security guards living wages, right? And plus they were involved in some other nefarious activities, and internationally. So now 2025, Target, a Minnesota-based company, is being boycotted for abolishing their DEI measures, diversity, roughly about diversity. But this whole DEI thing, the funny thing is DEI is kind of, it's funny, because if you go to Latin, the Latin language, DEI is God, De, or Deus in Greek, which a lot of you that, follow this channel know that I'm an ESL professor as well, and a burgeoning polyglot. I digress. But boycotting is a serious way to get attention from, these corporations and other organizations that are trampling on people's rights. American Airlines, the NFL, all of these things. So since Brother Colin Kaepernick took a knee, I haven't participated in, watching NFL. So that brings me to the gist of this this video. As an African American, probably the most known boycott is the Montgomery bus boycott, which was set off by the people of Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa Parks, others, Dr. Martin Luther King came in with the SCLC, NAACP, different labor unions, and I think maybe 300 somewhat days the people of Montgomery boycotted the buses. But they did it day by day. So my critique comes with modern folk, is that the blood of our ancestors runs through our vein, and these people were about achieving their social, civil, and human rights. They were willing to go the second mile and walk to work. Whereas today, we're so comfortable where we at that we find an excuse not to participate in boycotts of companies, organizations that we give our money to readily And it just comes down to comfort. It comes down to people will not put their shoulder to the wheel and push and grind until better has come. We want to blame it on the figureheads, the leaders of these movements. And these movements are not as strong as the single elements that make up the company, that make up the group. It comes down to individual choice. I'm not bitter or demeaning a person if they choose not to participate in an economic boycott, whether it's the NFL, Target, American Airlines, or any other company that is biased towards any group. And specifically my group as being an African-American man, African-American people, human beings, regardless of their color, regardless of their religion, regardless of whom or what. That's not my concern. My concern is against injustice. And a great part of my community is ambivalent towards this struggle. And this being 2025, there is an all-out assault in the United States against human rights, whether it's immigration, whether it's LGBTQ, migrants. Now there's assault on Social Security. So it's dealing with elders, the baby boomers. And what they do is they find something that can divide you based on something that you may not particularly agree with. That small thing causes you to go against the larger thing, whether it's a personality, whether it's a person's lifestyle, whatever, you know. People just got to grow up, you know. Love to learn instead of hate. Again, that notion of comfort. I was speaking with a friend of mine, you know, who's a huge sports fan. Just can't bring himself to understand the validity of boycotting the NFL. So, well, you know, it's college football, high school football. You know, they need your support just as much as those guys that get paid millions of dollars and not in your tax bracket and really don't care about your liberty, your life, how you get it. So, what I learned working with that Interfaith Workers Justice organization was I learned about my own privilege. You know, me being a seminary graduate, I was paid for my labor. Yet there was a group of college students from some of the best universities, Mount Holyoke, Loyola, Rhodes College out of Memphis, whole lot of fine universities. They were not paid to get out there and do the same thing that I was doing, but they were doing it as young people coming to learn about social justice. But like I say, I was paid to do it, so I was privileged. You know, and basically these were a lot of young Caucasian Americans, white Americans, Muslim girl, a couple Muslim girls, Ethiopian girl, and like I said, a couple, white guys. And we bonded together, and I learned, like I said, I learned about my privilege. Whereas most times I'm not from that privileged class. I'm not from that privileged background. But I learned that, and I keep that with me, even for, groups that I may not agree with. If we find ourselves as allies in that struggle, if we find ourselves as comrades fighting that common foe, then it is what it is. And I feel like all the unity is being broken by the present administration and this whole notion of comfort. I'm big on that. If I can't work there, I can't spend there. If you're going to mistreat me, then I'm going to make sure that I don't be around you. I don't know what it is, but I bless the memory of Rosa Parks, and all of those persons that stood firm on that Montgomery boycott. So it's in me too. It's in me too. I hope that by seeing this short little video, it might sway you to just take it one day at a time with these organizations that are not necessarily treating people the best. Just one day at a time. Like I find myself, I don't know, I guess I haven't dealt with Target since 2008. I haven't dealt with the NFL for years now. And it's not that I don't like football or anything like that, but I don't give my energy to places where it's not received and reciprocated. So tell your friends, have a discussion about it with some of your friends, some of your loved ones, some of your elders, some of your mothers and your fathers, your aunties, your uncles, and your masjids and your synagogues and your churches about what was going on then. And then you might have a little more insight into what you can do to make the world a better place. One day at a time, one person at a time. You see, if you check the companies on any type of financial website that carries the stock exchange or whatever, you can go look at the daily, monthly, 5 month, 6 month, 1 year. You can look at the stock prices. You can get a graph of the stock prices, and you can see the effect that it has on these particular companies. Every quarter they have earnings reports, which they have to share with the public and their shareholders. And that's the best way to hit them. When they say, oh, our revenues are down for the last quarter, they react to that. They react to pressure being put on them. Hey, help me grow the channel. Like it, subscribe to it, share it with your friends or whatever. You know, I'm just a man that gonna stand firm for right. I'd love for you to join and fight back this system. You're not helpless. That I say peace.